All right, everyone, welcome back. We had a pretty one-sided overall, I would say 16 to 10 coming through back on Train in favor of the boys on Apex. Obviously, that's a bit of a flipped situation to what we seen when these two teams faced each other on that map 2 days ago. And well, now we also have a rematch of Overpass, but this time, obviously, it is Apex who are up by a map. They have a chance here to end this potentially 2-0 on their own map choice. And what are you thinking, Wolfie? What are you thinking after what we seen back on Train, rather?
If I'm Apex, I'm disappointed if this isn't a 2-0 now. That was one hell of a performance, one hell of a shift on Train. They did look like they were getting off the gas a little bit towards the end, but they still managed to pull it through. They still managed to find the rounds that they needed. And yeah, I mean, we talked about Overpass previously, 16-13, very close game. I've got the hiccups. This is going to be fun. But
Bad timing.
I think if they can take a few more rounds right, we've seen them completely turn around Train and completely turn around how that looked. So coming into this map, they've got to be feeling confident.
Yeah, and you said it was the T side, I believe, as well, that both teams actually really struggled on here on Overpass.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately where Apex are going to be starting off with it being their map choice. Wisla are obviously choosing the CT side, as we can now see, because the game is starting to go live. So I'll go ahead and get it up on your screen, guys. But yeah, what are we thinking? If Apex can get 5 or 6 rounds here on the T side, are they looking really good at that point?
I think six has got to be the goal, right? 6 rounds is always a decent T side. Anything from there on's a bonus. Any less than that, and you start to make that pistol round a little bit more heavily weighted than you perhaps like. But P250, a little bit of util picked up for Relaxer. Jedka going to pop flash his teammates in early, and well, Apex not really taking too much opening aggression. A few players just starting to fan out towards Party now. A couple clearing the initial connector control, and Goofy, got to imagine, going to be put under pressure. He's falling back towards that half wall. It's an awkward fight. It's a messy one, but Kriaz is there to swing and help his teammate out. And now with that man advantage, Wisla, they've really got to start panicking a little bit on these rotations. Already sending a second man up over towards the A bomb site as the USP has recovered. But is it going to be enough? Still that smoke, still that flash to make this work. Hades pop flashed in beautifully, but he can't make anything of it. And with 4 crosshairs facing him the other way, he can't find any connection whatsoever. It's starting to fall apart all too quickly here. 5-on-3 as the pop flashes come in. Nice first shot from Sparrow. We need a lot more than that, though. And Jedka's getting isolated on the APC. The trades are just all too good. And it's the 3v1 for Ponchek. He's being chased down as well. Dennis wants this frag.
It seemed like Wisla were almost ready for all of those pushes, but yeah, just never had the numbers or the shots being connected to hold it. Never mind, hang on. Apparently I was counting out Ponchek a little bit too soon because he's gone ahead and dropped it to a one-on-one against Relaxa, who does have the P250, but he's not got Kevlar behind it. The issue for Ponchek is this bomb has now been down for quite a while, and he doesn't actually have a kit in play. So he's going to have to get moving relatively quickly right now. Strafing in around from Bank, that actually will find him the defuse, get the work whip, but he's running out. Oh, actually, it ended up being Relaxa who ran out of bullets first. That gave plenty of time for Ponchek to go ahead and compose himself, and he does just about have time to get this defuse in, I believe. It's close. No, he doesn't have it. I thought he was going to have it. Oh, it comes right down to the wire. What a chaotic round right there. Honestly, again, as I said, it looked like Wisla they had good ideas. They had the flash trying to stop that push up through short. They had a 3-man stack pretty much by the time the actual A hit came in. But there was just amazing entries from Apex. But then we have Wisla step up. We have Ponchek nearly pulling off the retake. I mean, even though they don't win the round right there, at the very least, it does come down to such a close position right there where they can stop Apex from feeling too good. And obviously, it maybe motivates their force buy here a little bit. Give them an
Gives
M4.
them something to work with, right? Force buy a
Oh.
little bit more powerful. But
Alone?
Apex,
Not a single
oh,
pistol behind them ready to retrieve the weapon and try and follow up or anything.
that's awful. They're going to send Hades. He should be able to nab it, actually. I think he's going to catch a timing. And with Dennis low HP,
Oh,
he should be able to find the trade as well. Does well there to bring it back into the 4-on-4 and hightail away in towards those long bathrooms. Apex, we're looking to take that fight. We're looking to deny the recovery, but now we'll instead group up. And they have got such a significant utility advantage, right? A straight hit into the B bomb site feels more than viable. And that looks like it is the call. Couple of MAC-10s to go in first, get the information. Smokes and nades over the top to make sure the vision is obscured. But Wisla, we've got a decent read on this. They've sent the second man down. The second Deagle is in position as the sneak out monster comes through. And Apex, they're looking to take this peak dry. No utility to back it up initially. Now the smokes start to go down. Now the angles start to be locked out. Jedka can't quite connect the initial shots despite good damage. No headshots coming through. And that opens things up. Bomb plant down. Ponchek does well from water for one, but the trade is quick again. And Wisla, they've got to start weighing up their options here. All 3 players tagged up. This is going to be a very difficult retake to land. Smoke goes in towards Heaven. Kriaz,
Oh.
that's a little awkward. It does miss its mark by a little way, but with that bomb already ticking down, no defuse kit in sight, Wisla, it's going to be so difficult for them to get back in. Grusan just hunkering down in water will finally be found. The trades aren't coming through. Freddy Frog a little awkward, but finally they find the connections thereafter. And with a couple of players left alive, Apeks will get their second round down.
Yeah, after that first kill in the pit, I honestly thought they were going to have it. It seemed like the Deagle was ready for the trade on towards the pillar player, but he just about inched back in. Obviously, then had a bit of cover from his teammate on the ramp. And yeah, Apeks, they do manage to take the round, but good damage overall was done by Wisla. Initially, there on the 3-on-3, I was thinking maybe the save would have been worthwhile. As you had mentioned, they didn't have a kit. The bomb was already taken away pretty quickly. They did need those instant kills pretty much. And as we've seen, it didn't end up working out. So maybe it could have been nice to have the M4, a scout, and a pistol here. But obviously, they went for it. Didn't work out. If they can get a couple of kills now with the few pistols they do have available here, then at least they'll be in a good position to try and start getting going on that first gun round. But again, Apeks are getting a strong start, this time on the T side of Overpass. And this is where both teams struggled just a couple of days back when they versed off against each other. So the fact that Apeks are able to get a little bit of a foundation going here in the early moments is absolutely fantastic. And especially then if we see that first gun round go their way, then Wisla, I think, are going to be incredibly worried. Hang on, though. Freddy Frog. He's only got a Mach 10, but he is going to walk into a bit of a stack here, so he could be maybe traded out. No, never mind. Gets the first two players. May have to worry about a flank around from long, but, well, he's gone ahead and taken a lot of attention and allowed for his teammates to just go plant on B either way.
It's a nice shot from Sparrow, but the problem is, as you said, bomb's going down on B all the while. Of course, no harm in maybe giving this one a little bit of a go. There's no armor to be saved, so take an AK away, do a little bit of damage. Maybe you can start to justify things and
Give
nice
them back into
flank
Hades,
coming
maybe.
in as well.
Try and get him a bit extra.
Maybe a bit of timing, but no. Grusan goes down, finds the frag. Sparrow and Hades, I mean, a couple of frags, one apiece would be good. Sparrow, though, going to peek right into the AK-47 relaxer. It's all too easy, all too simple. Hades, he's been pretty on fire with this Deagle, but it would take something special with no armor to land this shot onto relaxer. Trying to pre-fire it initially, but he's just hemmed in. There's nothing he can really do to make this peak any better for himself. He's dropping what he can. Maybe even lobbing that molly onto the bomb site late to try and get some damage, actually to molly himself off. But yeah, it's going to be a third round regardless. A little bit more damage potentially on the board for Hades. He's going to try and get something, but it's not going to come through. With 4 AKs saved up, Hades goes down to the bomb. It's a really solid start for Apeks.
Are we going to get the double up? Because the Sparrow was the one hanging on to the Mach 10, so I think if he had have got kills with it anyway, he probably would have went straight towards the up. Because as I was saying, I thought they would have just gave it to Hades so he could try and get that bit extra money on the exit, try and ensure he'd have full Kevlar, maybe even a few nades behind this buy, but it's still a decent investment either way, so I don't think they're too worried. There's no kit, though. That could certainly be a little bit of an issue, so maybe an extra kill probably would have funded that. So yeah, good work by Apeks not giving away anything else in the end, I suppose. And, well, now as I said, they have a chance where if they win this first gun round, suddenly they have a potential 5-0 lead on the T side of Overpass while already up by 1 map. So this round is, of course, incredibly crucial for Wisla if they want to keep themselves in this one. And again, we mentioned both of these teams right now sitting in the 3rd and 4th place. You've also got Saw, who are on the same 4-2 streak at the 4-2 record at the moment. So the winner of this does go up in the 2nd place. Obviously, it's not the end of the season, but we're getting through. We're on week 7 right now. So to get yourself up there, it's putting yourself in a position where, unless things really start going bad for you, you probably have playoffs pretty much confirmed.
Sneaking out again.
Oh, damn.
Oh, Dennis, that spray down is disgusting. The adjustment for the quick headshot onto Heaven. Apeks, they've done that 2-3 times in a row now. Just walked out monster with no utility and committed at the last possible second. And, well, a little bit of magic from Dennis. You said you wanted to see him rolling back the years. Talk about a play there. Hades and Sparrow, immediately a save right. There is absolutely no way they're going to be committing to that round. And you said first rifle on the board, 4-0 start for Apeks. Again, feeling like that initial momentum is very much in their favor. And they're even going to start hunting a little bit. A couple of tags onto the AWP of Hades. Pop Flash going to come in to try and force him off these angles. They are desperate to try and take as much away from Wisla as they possibly can here. 3 players, in fact, queuing up to try and hunt Hades down. And that AWP, it's only going to be good for the initial trade. There's too many players, not enough time. He goes down, and that's a huge pickup for Apeks.
This is really, really bad for Wisla right now. incredibly bad. I mean, look at the money as well that's been built up for Apeks. Wisla into this next gun round, they're going to need to turn things around dramatically and win a few gun rounds rather in a row, at least before they put a dent in that economy. And there's a chance for them to kind of stabilize it a bit more here, even because Kreese is the one who's maybe a bit low on money. So if they can manage to keep 3-4 players alive here, ensure they're not buying in really too much, at least in the next round, then yeah, Wisla are going to have a tough time trying to crack them down if they even do manage to get themselves going. What did we go up? 7-0, I think you seen the lead for Apeks being back on train. Obviously, that was on the CT side, so it wasn't quite as horrible of a position. If we end up in another 7-0 here, then I think Wisla would probably be done for. But, well, maybe they can step up now. We did actually see them come alive with the weaker buy back on train to get that first gun round, if I remember correctly. So perhaps that's what they're going to do right now. Oh, look at that aggression from Hades. A USP, man. It's just not the weapon you want.
He's trying to hunt them down. He wants to try and get something going, but timing's not going to quite be there for him. Kriaz will find the refrag. At least a man found, although that M4 has gone down to around the half HP region. I like the angle he's opted for. Close on that long swing. Not something that all teams will necessarily check. Sometimes just presume it's open. And you can see Relaxer clearing the angles with the AWP. Grusan looks like he's queued up for it, though. Should be a trade coming through the spray down, though. Good for 2. And the damage for the 3rd will allow Ponchek to capitalize. I mean, we said Wisla can do it in these sort of buys, and they've got themselves a 1v3 here. Ponchek taking the initial shots with the Deagle. Freddy Frog, intelligent move, making sure the AWP is out of the equation. But that pop flash in, so good, so clean. Wisla, out of pretty much nothing, do get their first round on the board. And just a reminder that this roster, they can do a lot of damage. They are by no means out of the fight. What I will say is by chucking the AK into the air, they've just lost it on the save.
Really? I didn't even notice that.
Cross.
Oh, really, Jesus. I didn't manage to catch that one. I mean, they've come straight out onto their double up setup. Obviously, they've bought those up, so they've still got a really strong buy. But yeah, I mean, that AK would have saved them a few quid, would have left a bit extra money when they really don't have anything spare, which is unfortunate. Were they trying to run boost through that short molly? But I don't think they expected it to be quite as deep as it was. So Yedgar just kind of runs into it. Takes only a small bit of damage and, well, returns even more with that nade over onto Kreese. But they weren't able to actually get any sort of control around short. They only have Hades now posted up with the AWP, which, well, could be countered, I was going to say, if a flash and a second player is there to peek alongside Kreese. But no, he ends up just getting caught by it. And now it's the full B commitment coming in with a man down for Apeks. Can they manage to recover it? And, well, not so far. Yedgar gets out of the barrels after taking his first kill to reposition. And, yeah, I'm liking this hold right now. Nice shot from Hades as well. And it just kind of seems one by one. I'm not going to lie, by Apeks, they're not hitting their shots and they're not ready for a trade on any of these.
The sneaky B play has officially expired. Freddy Frog and Relaxer to see what they can do, but the crossfire is just a little too good. Relaxer last alive. It's going to be a flawless round for the CT side, and this time they won't fluff up, saving the 2 AK-47. So a really nice one from them. Keeping that double AWP setup alive. That's going to be the real issue for them. Clearly, something they're looking to implement on the CT side of Overpass. They need to keep those in their hands because it is such an expensive investment to try and pull out. It looks like Apeks want to at least think about this buy. They're toying with it in spawn. Instead, Apeks will pick up at least one hero AK through Dennis. Otherwise, largely default pistols and a lovely flick from Hades to open things up. Grusan goes down. Second AWP here. They're not going to expect it at all. Sparrow finds the pick. And yeah, this round pretty quickly falling apart for the T side. Unfortunate that Dennis couldn't get anything done with the hero AK. Will at least be recovered. And I think for Apeks, they need at least a frag or two here, right? Something to give them some kind of damage to work with in future rounds.
Yeah, I mean, the economy isn't out of control yet on the side of Wisla, but you don't want to let them build up enough where that double up setup can be easily repurchased. You want to keep them kind of on the brink of losing one round. Suddenly the double up setup that they very clearly want to play with is no longer available, and they have to try and make do with rifles. And then obviously if Apeks can chain together a couple rounds at that point, then would break them down. But if you do see all 5 surviving here for Wisla, I think they'll be able to at least bolster up that economy a small bit. And, well, Sparrow, nice shot being connected, ends up missing. And, well, at this point should just stay tucked in, rather, and let his teammates deal with that final threat of Relaxa, which shouldn't be an issue. And, well, he is not for Ponchek. All 5 managing to live, as we said. A few nades maybe to be bought back up, but well, there will be actually quite a lot of money left over now on that CT side. So Apeks need a couple of rounds in a row before they put even a kind of dent in that. Although the double up setup would need to be dropped over. Hades couldn't fund it for himself. He'd easily be able to trade with Ponchek though. So there will be another full investment behind this. But again, with that double up setup being so damn expensive, it will not last very long.
Yeah, maybe got a round's worth of buy behind it if it starts to go south, but it is such a heavy call for a CT side to have to make, and Hades playing proactively with it. Dennis looks like he expects it for now. He's holding off, but he's going to swing straight into the man. The smokes will obscure Hades on the retreat. Starting to see some signs of life from Wisla's CT side now. Again, that early man advantage found. Hades not even going to fall all the way back to the site. Instead, going to post up in the bathrooms. See what more he can get done with that. Or misses the shot on the pixel angle, but so many opportunities to retreat, to fall back when you've got that man advantage. Post yourself on a new angle. Cause yet more havoc. This time back of bathrooms. He's going to swing and get the second. Relaxer does trade 1-for-1. But Hades is still lurking. He wants to get yet more aggression. He's almost entirely up towards Divider now, as he's trying to take map control away from this T side. Will finally back up. The util will give away his position a little bit, but he's going to get away with it for free. And as Relaxer misses that shot, that should be all the information Wisla needs. Sparrow drops the molly, buys himself some time as he sets up on the angle. It is this double up setup hold though, and Sparrow can't land it. Kriaz gets 2. And this is exactly the problem now. Jedka trying to rotate in, nothing going to be doing. And it's all on Goofy in the back lines. It's never going to land. It's crisp and clean from Relaxer. And Apeks, they bite back hard. This buy is going to be awkward for Wisla.
I want to pause here, honestly. You lose this, yeah, there we go. If you lose this, you're going down 7-3 before you get the guns again. You might not even have the double up then into that buy. So this is just so needed for Wisla. If things go south in this round, Apeks are going to be getting themselves an amazing T-side already. And as we mentioned, it was the T-side where both teams struggled just 2 days ago when they played each other here. We were just seeing... It's clear that Apeks have put the time in. They definitely went back over that game. I'm sure Paulie put in a load of demo reviewing. And it just seems like they have a much better feel for Wisla at the moment than Wisla do on the other side, going back towards kind of the playstyle of Apeks. And look how slow Goofy's starting. He's normally a player I expect up there in the frags as well for Wisla. So it just seems like things are going wrong across the board, because in that previous game we had Sparrow and Hades not really showing up. Hades wasn't playing bad. Sparrow, I think, was having a pretty poor performance, especially in the first half. They all did eventually wake up a little bit. But still, Wisla are the type of team where I expect normally everyone to be contributing to a relatively similar amount. I don't need anyone to specifically stand out, but you can't have anyone missing either.
That definitely seems so like some of the problem. I do wonder if Polly's gone through and picked some spots to isolate individuals.
Yeah, maybe.
Definitely feels like they've got a better idea of how these setups are playing, even on train, right? They just seem to know where some of the rotations were, catching some pretty key timings. This time, though, Apeks do chunk the initial nade. Freddy Frog and Grusan taking the bulk of the damage. And interestingly enough, Wisla have gone for a very heavy stack down towards the B-bomb side this time. It's been something that Apeks have really tried to make work in these opening rounds, just sneaking their way out of Monster, no util to back them up, and then catching a timing off the back of it, but it's going to be proactivity. Grusan does well to find at least one. Goofy will trade him back down. That should give the T side some kind of an idea, and as Goofy falls, the man advantage swings back the way of Apeks, and their bomb is actually hightailing it over towards the A-bomb site as we speak, clearing the initial angles on Fountain, and looking to split this CT defense.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea there. They did need some aggression to pull back a kill and some info, and, well, Goofy was denied. Ponchek tries to follow up in the same position, but a little bit more quietly without the flash, but they still had Freddy Frog watching it. And with that, they didn't really get much info about what's going on. It's only as the smokes actually start to come in back up on A that they realize it was only Freddy Frog who was holding that B side of the map. So yeah, Hades back in bank. He can't really do much about this as the bomb goes down unless he hits the wall bang, which, well, let's wait. Yeah, it does connect. It follows up. There we go. It's the kill at least to bring us back into the 3-on-3, but obviously he didn't manage to deny that bomb plant. So there is still the ability for Apeks to just position now in the after plant and play off of that bomb, which is at least the goal of Freddy Frog back on Batrooms, as we can see. But it's not going to be needed because Wisla just don't have the money to even give this a go, especially with it being that double up setup on the two healthy players. So they would be the ones who'd need to get all of the work done. So it's just way too big of a risk. They're going to concede a 6th round. At least they can maybe scrape together a buy behind this. They will be able to with the 5200 onto Ponchek, and with Goofy having a small bit in the bank as well, but it's already out of control, man.
Double up setup retakes. They are just almost impossible the majority of the time to land. And with the utility coming out from Apex, there's just nothing Hades can do. Does well to get the wallbang. That's not something you see players landing all that often. Sometimes just not committing to it for worry of giving their position away. But he does well to find at least a frag, right? Brings it down to 3 players alive, a little bit more economic damage, sure, and saves that AWP crucially across to form the backbone of this next buy. But Wisla certainly on the brink of things going very badly wrong here. Still a very strong buy for Apex, regardless of what little the CT side could find in the previous. And the Molly doing good work, actually. Sparrow wanted to stay posted deep short. Instead has had to push proactively and take that water control. Leaves him vulnerable as well. 2 angles to check, but it's Hades who opens things up. Grusan just peeking dry in towards that AWPer. It has not worked out well for him, and Sparrow's going to get the exact same. Kriaz looking to swing. I mean, it goes from great to awful, really, for Apex. Just swinging into those AWPers with no util behind them gives 2 opening picks out of nowhere. For 3-on-5, they've got to try and find some kind of an advantage, some way to get back into this. A little bit of nade damage, sure, but that's not going to be enough. They're trying to hit shots through the smoke on the AWP as they group up towards Playground, but it's going to take something a little bit special from the T side.
Yeah, if they can at least make it a costly one, that would be nice. Although, there could also be the consideration of even saving the weaponry, because then you could have Relaxa drop a gun over to Grusarn and Kreese can buy for himself. But I think they do want to just give it a little bit of a go, it looks like. Dennis up on his own, up close on Batrooms already. Did have a teammate take the peek from a little bit further back on the op, hoping to maybe take some attention and keep them on those aggressive angles as well. Relax actually gets tagged down. Did he connect that wallbang? Did that actually hit and do like 2 damage to Hades? It was very little, but yeah, he actually does get a little bit of revenge, I guess, for the wallbangs in that previous round. But let's see, can they actually find the entries now? Because they have gone ahead and notified that the hit was coming in about 10 seconds ago. So as you can see, everyone is prepared for Wisla. They are not going to even drop a single player on the hold. That's how you need to wake back up. Again, with the double up setup, especially being so expensive, if they even lost one of them, it would have been a very difficult job to get it back unless they just picked it back up. So being able to take a clean round, getting all their nades now behind it, and well, coming up against what was maybe going to be an eco, I was thinking, but no, they actually decided to go for the buy. Makes sense. I think they had 2 players on the double eco, so it was kind of, even if they took the 1 eco, you would have had Dennis and Grusarn probably on like Galils in the next round at best. So they're going to give it a go. They want to try and keep the pressure on. If they win this one, it wouldn't completely break Wisla's economy, but I mean, they're already on 6 rounds, so if they get up towards 7, at that point, you've got a fantastic T-side no matter what. So it's Wisla really aiming for these final rounds, these final 5 rounds to bring it up to 9.
I mean, it was something we highlighted in the pregame, how strong both sides were CT side of Overpass, right? We said that that was where they'd be looking to really make things happen, but at the moment, at least, it's not looking clean. Traded 2 for 1. They're going to start just swinging into this. Again, the dry peeks in towards the B bomb site. Sparrow taking a lot of damage. Has to be careful now towards the pillar. He's going to get out of there cleanly as well. Kriaz taking a lot of nade damage. Freddy Frog does find one, but it's immediately traded through the smoke. 3-on-2 with Kriaz on essentially no HP at this point. It's going to be all on Relaxer to be the man to make that hero play. There's a good amount of damage on the board, so potentially somewhere Kriaz can find some kind of impact. It's going to be so difficult for him to do so. Relaxer creeping his way up short, sat behind the smoke for now, and the CTs have just essentially abandoned this bomb site. 1 man playing under heaven, 1 man playing deep towards ABC. Just holding their crossfires, allowing the fight to come to them. It's the right call because there's no real utility either for this T side to get into this round. So Relaxer, he's just got to start peaking things. And with 20 seconds left on the clock, he's got to be pretty enthusiastic about them as well. Nobody covering heaven. Sparrow, he's just holding for this cross into the bomb site. Should be able to spot the man if the bomb goes down. But actually playing a little more passively than I thought. Might start to open things up for a potential plant. Jedka in towards water, though, finds the first. And Kriaz, he's got no health to make this work. No time to make this work. It will be Wisla in with their 5th. And they will crucially hold on to that double AWP setup because it got mighty close.
Yeah, I think we're actually seeing an Apeks pause now coming in. I'm behind. They're already on 6, which is decent, but you want to try and grind out a little bit more. Obviously, 6 rounds, good T-side on Overpass no matter what. But if it's in a position where you've lost like maybe 6 or 7 of the last of those final rounds in a row, then obviously at that point the kind of momentum, the confidence will be shifted towards the other team, which can always then be a big issue with the pistol round. So yeah, they want to try and slow things down, compose themselves. This one's going to be the eco, but if they can grind out 1, even 2 more rounds to go up towards 8, then they put themselves in an absolutely amazing spot. But yeah, I mean, Wisla, it seems like they've woken up, and this double up setup was something that started working for them on train as soon as they got it out as well. So I do think that's maybe something that they need to keep going here, which is, well, so far they've been doing a good job at building up at least a bit of economy. I think we have a peek there on mid, which could be risky for Sparrow. Thankfully, there's not too many players coming in his direction, but they are moving through connector as well, so yeah, he actually could be caught off guard right now. Here's the footsteps coming in. Will try and escape, but they're going to be hot on his heels. Thankfully, gets a bit of help from Short as the secondary up is also there, and it's the P250 to just clean it up with a little bit of a help from that dink from Freddy Frog onto his teammate. I don't think it made too much of a difference, though, in the end, as well. It is 4 on the, well, 3 on the P250, 1 on the up there anyways from Sparrow. Up to 13. He's looking good.
Well, that was a little bit brutal, wasn't it? Look, for a split second, like Sparrow was going to get run down, and then potentially get the AWP into the hands of someone like Relaxer, see what damage he can find, try and force Wisla into a little bit of an awkward spot. Instead, well, Sparrow, the hero play on the P250, finds himself the crucial kills, gets away with the round cleanly at that. And interestingly, the CT side really looking to pile the pressure on Apeks now. Aggression in towards the playground, smokes deep to take control and take advantage of it as well, aware that even if they just fall off the angle at this point, right, they've committed so much util, and they're going to force the recommitment from Apeks. They're going to have to flash themselves out if they even want to give it a go at all. More than likely, they'll be funneled in towards the B bomb site, and these crossfires are so well pathed. Hades actually comes off the angle at the worst possible moment. He's still going to get out of there without any troubles. And yeah, Grusan's starting to clear out the initial angles to try and get that fountain control back.
Yeah, it definitely seems like some of that initial confidence from Apeks is kind of maybe withered away. They're taking a more slow approach for sure. It doesn't mean they've lost the confidence, I suppose, but they're definitely not as aggressive in these initial moments as they were kind of imposing their control on the map. Instead, some room has been given to Wisla, and, well, at this point to Yedker, who's very aggressive in the bathrooms. Molly down, warning him that they are getting up pretty close at this point, but he does want to stick here, but the timing is horrible. Still manages to get that kill onto Grusarn somehow, but he's not prepared as Dennis comes in for the trade, and now they have Hades pinned in the corner. And despite actually hitting the leg onto Dennis, it will not be good enough, but the molly, that is there for the finish, and well, they forced a bit of a reroute back around through Banana, which is delayed an extra couple of seconds, allowing for Ponchek to now also be in position. So yeah, this is going to be tough. Apeks needs some quick entries. It's 2 players in towards Optimus that they need to deal with, and the nade, it doesn't quite stop the bomb plant, but it's done some good damage, and Sparrow, he's again on this up, just cleaning things up, but he can't quite get it back in time for that final shot to be let off. Instead, Kreese is there on the trade. That was looking so hectic. It really did seem like he had the spam pretty much lined up right there as he dropped the nade in on the bomb plant, but yeah, wasn't able to stop it, kind of just gave his own position away. And then, yeah, with an op Sparrow, there's a certain amount of time, of course, that you need to prep between those shots, and, well, good work by Apeks to not give it to him. Kree is always ready for those refrags. Again, I think we mentioned before this best of 3, he was actually the best player for them so far in this season, and he's been playing fantastically throughout this, so I wouldn't imagine he's lost that spot. Oh, we're seeing the boost. It's taken a while. This already wastes so much time, unfortunately, for getting map control and giving the CTs chances to go aggressive. So you need to make sure you get that as quick as possible. And now they're just not going to get any chance with it. No one's going to be peeking. They've actually just taken short control.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, isn't it? Pulling it out, trying something a little bit different. Doesn't quite land. And as you said, short control given away for free, right? At the very least, it is bleeding a little bit of utility out of the CT side. I think Hades a little concerned that nobody's heard anything anywhere on the map, just drops a smoke to make sure he's not going to get caught off guard by some utter madness. And Apeks, that boost pretty much funnels you into the B bomb site no matter what, right? You've just got no control anywhere else. You've got nothing to work with. No idea if the CT side have got aggressive elsewhere on the map, so you just have to go to B. And, well, 3 players here for the CT side. Sparrow caught in transition, but there's still plenty of firepower. Grusan looking to do it all himself. Opens up with 2. Last man on the site, stuck in the water. Grusan has single-handedly opened this one up. It's a man advantage. The AWP spots out the Heaven player as well. This is starting to get very nasty for Wisla once again. Hades is a little bit stuck in towards CT. Needs the support of his teammate. That molly is doing so much work, though, and Hades is going to get a freebie. A lineup on the wallbang gets a little more damage as well. But with 20 seconds left, that bomb plant will come in. 2-on-2. Hades relocating to Heaven. Gets the timing. Relaxer looked like he had that shot locked down, but it's going to be Grusan for the ace. He can't find it. Wisla drag themselves back into the round, kicking and screaming, and we level out at 7 apiece.
All right, yeah, no, this has been a pretty good recovery, as we mentioned. The only issue is already 7 rounds for Apeks, so if they can manage to kind of not let the fact that they've been losing a lot of rounds towards the end of this half disrupt them too much, then they definitely could just come alive on their own CT side, as we're even kind of seeing now from Wisla. Obviously, if they do it earlier, then Wisla would be in trouble. But what I'm loving right now is we're having these uppers wake up. The only thing is, you can't really have both of them popping off on the AWP once you swap over to that T side. So it's a little worrying, because it is Sparrow and Hades who are delivering a massive percentage of those frags right now, I believe on 17 and 15. So it's going to be something that's difficult then over on the T side. Normally you're like, yeah, okay, one or two players can pretty much do the carry on the T side. It's the CT side where they can't. I think when it's Oppers, you've got to kind of flip the situation. But look at this B rush. It looked like it was starting off pretty decently for them with the entry from Kreese, but Goofy, while blinded and through the smoke, is able to catch 2 in return, which has actually delayed the push enough now for them to start rotating back down. Otherwise, they would have had just Ponchek left on that bomb site alone.
Serious presence committed to this at this point. Ponchek got a little bit of a gap as he goes up on the box, and there's nobody there to trade. Dennis looking the wrong way, caught off guard. Relaxer wants to take the frag, but it's not going to happen, and he's left Freddy Frog alone. Admittedly against 2 AWPs, but on just 30 HP, they'll switch out to the pistols. The Teagle, the P250 will come out, and they'll try and isolate this last man in towards the pillar. I don't think he knows he's being flanked. It won't even matter. Hades gets it, 8-7 at the half, and well, a decent recovery again for Wisla, but I do think there are some concerns, some pretty serious ones at that, because neither team's T side was particularly effective before, and Apeks once again look like they've gone away, they've done their homework, and they've come back looking incredibly strong.
Yeah, no, they look much, much better here on the T side than, as we said, they were able to previously. Definitely not looking as convincing as it was on Train at the halftime, but it's still a pretty good position to be in. Wisla, though, solid recovery, bringing it back up to 8. And guys, we're going to actually send it over to just a small break here on the halftime, so make sure you stick with us. All right, Buzz, we said it wouldn't be long, and we, well, told you the truth, because we are actually getting right back into it now. A7 at the halftime. I mean, you look at that and you think absolutely fantastic for Apeks, but obviously it was with them slowing down a little bit as the half went on. But it is still a great scoreline, especially now if they take this pistol and they're able to get back into their winning ways in the early moments of the CT side. But Wisla, they had got some confidence going. If they can take the pistol, on the other hand, they get a good lead going at that point. So it is a pretty important pistol towards both sides, and, well, the entry, it's gone towards Wisla as they rush out Monster. They've actually got 3 players at the moment trapped in on this pit, and, well, they know they're all there. They're not going to struggle. They don't concede a single frag as suddenly Grusarn's left alone, and he is about to be knifed by Sparrow. What a round from Wisla.
Well, that's brutal, to say the least. Pistol goes the way of the T side, and yeah, a huge opportunity now for them to really build into something in this early stages of the second half, right? That knife comes out. Apeks have got absolutely nothing. They're going to try and force it up, but look how strong the buy is from Wisla. T-sides are just nasty these days, man. 4 AKs and a Galil. Good utility across 3 players. It's just unreal. Freddy Frog going to go for the early peak. Does find a couple of tags. Brings his man down to 23, but Relaxer eats the nade in response. They've got a couple of tags worth of damage, and I think that has slowed Wisla down initially. The problem is there's just so much firepower available for these T-sides.
Yeah, could get a little bit risky, as you said, with the damage being done. Not really having the nades either, because they've prioritized rather going straight onto these rifles, which might be a little bit due to the fact that, well, Apeks players have all been popping off individually. They just, at the moment, want to have the weapons to ensure that they're not going to be dropping too much, but that's always a risk, because you have more to give away, potentially, as well. Obviously, the B hit's going to be coming in. Dennis, I believe, was playing anti-flash, and, well, no flash came in. Instead, it was played off at contact. The initial 2 kills actually do go the way of Apeks before eventually the swing for Dennis is denied. But the damage is still being done, and those 2 kills that they found weren't even on the initial players who were tagged down low. So you've still got Goofy and Sparrow on the brink of death.
This could get really awkward. Relaxer here with the scout as well. Finds himself damaged. Looks for the headshot. Can't quite connect, but the frags are going all the way of Apeks. 1v3 required for Hades. He's isolating them well, but he's only got 20 HP left, and this angle, all but impossible to clear. They do it with the Deagles, with the scout. It works out for Apeks, and this is the problem. They are just looking on another level at the moment, even with full AKs. Wisla get trapped by it. The setup over towards B is good. I wondered if Dennis was going to get caught off playing anti-flash, but he still manages to at least trade himself down, and it puts all this pressure on Wisla, as they, in fact, are going to have to force up with what they can afford. It's one of the worst looking T-side force buys I think I've ever seen. It's down to 5 Deagles. Couple of pot flashes will at least force Relaxer off the initial peak. But all that pressure immediately back on Wisla to start performing on the T-side.
Yeah, I mean, can we see the Deagles popping off for Wisla? Oh, okay, that was a nice little dink onto Relaxer through the wall, actually. They had also initially done some damage onto Freddy Frog when he was peeking around short, so this could be dangerous for both of these low players right now. Freddy Frog, okay, manages to hang on and make sure his teammate doesn't fall initially, but now he's left around the bathrooms playing in a smoke as a couple of players try and hunt them down. They've actually mostly bypassed them so they can just go take the bomb site, but again, that just leaves Freddy Frog now in a position on the flank where he's a nuisance to them. And with Dennis also popping in, there is not going to be a bomb plant going down. Hades did eventually get that trade, but I mean, just the sheer amount of time that Freddy Frog wasted right there, keeping the bomb even around the bathrooms, trying to help his teammate out, just it allowed everyone to rotate into position for Apeks. And obviously now it's going to be the full eco from Wisla, so Apeks are going to go ahead and reclaim themselves the lead.
Really nicely played from Freddy Frog. I mean, it was an awkward spray, right? He tried to go anti-flash, then the flash doesn't land quite where he's expecting. He adjusts, but it's the FAMAS, it's not the M4. He's not quite used to the spray pattern. It doesn't quite land initially, but he gets it done. And as you said, just staying alive there is so crucial. He buys so much time. A second huge USP headshot buys times for those rotations to come in. It's not as clean as I'm sure Apeks would have liked. They go down to 2, but it's looking pretty good to start things off for the CT side. I was worried after that pistol. It looked utterly chaotic, but they've adjusted well, obviously. Started to find their way back into things here. There are still a couple of Deagles on the board for Wisla, though, and I think Apeks have got to give them the respect they're due at this point. Freddy Frog playing a nice angle, but again, Relaxer is just tanking these shots, and he's got no health to work with. Does well to even find the one, and at this point, I'd be telling him to get rid of that rifle, get out of here, but it's going to be the trade starting to come through. Again, a rifle given up. Dennis is here to support his teammate and will find the frag onto Sparrow. There's still an opportunity for some damage to come through for Wisla.
Yeah, a little bit of time as well that they're trying to sit on for now. The only thing is they can't move back towards B with no info and with already Grusarn pushed up, so yeah, it was always going to have to pretty much end on that A bomb site, and as they try and fight Kreas, he just takes his time tapping away with the M4. 10-9. We expected the lead to be taken in favor of Apeks off of that round, to be fair. But obviously, Wisla realize how important it is now for them to come alive in this gun round. Otherwise, it's going to be Apeks just running away again with a ridiculous lead in these opening moments of the half, and you just cannot let that happen. Again, Wisla already down by a map after they dropped their own choice of train.
If they wanted to take us to Vertigo, they're going to have to start stepping up pretty soon.
What pause is this
Pause
exactly?
comes in.
You've got Freddy Frog who hasn't bought as well, yeah? So I was kind of scared it was a technical for a second.
Doesn't look like it's the case. I mean, Freddy Frog still hasn't bought. There's 6 seconds left. He does need to get a bit of a shift.
Get those buy-binds, watch, as he's running out of spawn. No, he's actually not buying that quick. I don't know if he has buy-binds.
Doesn't look like
he had enough
it,
time anyway.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. He's got his rifle. He's got his utility, and well, Wisla have got some pretty decent firepower on their side of things as well. Hades, not able to get onto the AWP, will instead pick up the Krieg. It's been heavily nerfed, but seen some players looking to it again with those orgs starting to resurge into the meta on certain maps. It definitely feels like there is still a world where those scoped weapons are viable. Connector control going to be given up, and Apeks, very similar to how they played their CT side on train. There's an initial peak, there's an initial idea, which is pretty much essential on Overpass, but then almost immediately falling back, right? Freddy Frog and Relaxer, they're not even posted in the bathrooms this time. Now that the rifles are out, they're going to sit on the bomb site itself, actually rotating a 4th player down towards B. With 1 minute and 5 left on the clock, Util a little bit limited for Wisdom. They've got to start making some decisions about where they want to go.
Yeah, well, the bomb's been retrieved and brought back towards Monster, so that probably indicate that they want to go over towards B. But again, putting at least some pressure around A at the moment. They don't want to make things too predictable. They had forced that A defense back in towards the bomb site as well, where they're very limited on info about what's going on. So it looks like actually the B players instead want to try and take a bit of a peek, and that doesn't work for them. Grusarn trying to fall back after initially spotting them on Monster, and Hades just walks up through short, absolutely fragging out. He will eventually be denied after 2, but that's going to give them a bomb plant with a decent man advantage, which, well, for now is going to be held onto and eventually extended by Goofy as they take a 3-on-1. Relaxa probably not feeling too comfortable right now as he's trying to, at this point, just see what he can work from heaven, but he's being flanked out. I was going to say maybe the save would be considered, what the hell is that word? But no, they weren't able to do that. It would have been huge as well, because you could have gave a drop over to Freddy Frog, who has 1450. He's looking at a double eco, so you probably do buy around this. Although, no, maybe not. At 10-10, probably get a few pistols. You're going to have Freddy Frog, sadly, on a weaker buy no matter what in the next round, so he also just buys a deagle. But the rest of them are in a decent position where they will even be able to get the op if they want in the following. So, yeah, I mean, not wanting to give too much away. They'll happily just concede the 11th over to Wisla instead and hope to at least make it a costly round and keep that economy fragile.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen what they can do, right? With pistols, deagles. Looking pretty lethal indeed. And they're going to take some map control as well. Pushing up short very proactively. I like it. Trying to put the pressure back onto the T side. Got Freddy Frog on the off angle, but it's not going to work in towards Connector. There are players queued up coming the other way, but the spray down well timed, well lined up from Ponchek. They're cleaning up house here. Grusan, with that spam through, will give away his position. Well, an awkward fight, but Ponchek does find the final connection. So all 5 players kept up for Wisla. They regain the lead. And this is where maybe it starts to get a little bit awkward. CT economy, it's a cruel beast indeed. And Apeks, they are going in heavy into this round. Double AWP setup. Dennis is going to pick up secondary. It means if it goes south, then pretty much this half starts to become very untenable for the CT side. At least for now, Wisla not able to bring out a T-side AWP in response.
No, bit of a contrast to their own double op setup. They were loving to pull out on that CT side, of course, but yeah, at the moment the rifle's all they have available, and although they could have upgraded the op, it would have just left them in a bit of an awkward position where they wouldn't have had enough for it if they do lose a round. Ponchek, though, he's going to find early contact against the MP9 and Connector, who is, I believe, they're currently with some assistance from the opper. Yeah, Auto Director, want to show us some of the action? Thank you very much. He will swap over, or rather leap over towards Freddy Frog, where the action was indeed taking place, and well, that's a quick 2-man advantage in favor of Apeks. The bait and switch setup works out perfectly. And that's just forced Wisla now to fall back around. They have no control towards B. Instead, they're going to try and push this in towards middle and see if they can take it up long as well with that bomb. And, well, I think Hades might get caught. No, the shot was missed by Dennis. So that's a big opportunity, actually, because there's not a second player immediately ready on the bomb site. They're only now moving back up through the bank. So this should at least give a bomb plant over to Wisla.
Blacks are a little bit stuck in towards connector as well. Rotation's pretty swift from the CT side. Grusan in a decent spot. Let's have his teammate in the bank as well. They're starting their flank around the corner, but Hades has got another one, and Sparrow's taken out Grusan. The CT side is not yet starting to work for Apeks. Already a round down. This was a good retake opportunity. Freddy Frog does well to bring one back and maybe start to make this viable. He's got all the util as well. He's being flanked from behind. Seems aware of the possibility, but the timing is awful. Actually manages to bail around, but it's not going to happen. And his Kriaz 1v2 over the top of the smoke finds the first and may well just stick this. He knows the other player was out towards long. He's got to stick it. He's got no kit. It's the full 10 second. And well, Hades is going to try and line it up again. He's not connecting anything at all. How has he got that? No damage, nothing done. He'll take out the man after the round, sure, but
the frustration.
How have Apeks got away with that?
Well, he dropped the smoke, he held E, and, well, successfully holding E for 10 seconds. It gave him the round win. But that's the simplified version. It's so awkward, though. You've got the Krieg with the lower rate of fire as well. He's trying to tap slowly and find the body, but he didn't even hit a bullet, I don't believe, before that defuse came in. So, yeah, that is a bit of a tilter. I don't even know who called this pause right now, because obviously Apeks, losing all of their players, have no money to rebuy, and they need to make sure they are able to chain some rounds together. Otherwise, their economy's just in tatters, and you're going to see Wisla running up 13 to 11 probably. So it could still backfire on them, but yeah, Wisla are like, that should have been our round. Whew. Even then, I think Apeks probably should have had it a bit more firmly in their hands initially when they had the 4-on-3 even, so that would have been another reason for them to get that pause in. And look at this buy, 3 MP9s, a scout, and only 1 M4.
CT sides, man. CT sides, it is not a good look, and Wisla are going to look to take advantage. Full firepower, fast in towards this B-bomb site. Pressure just piling on. They'll go through the molly, they'll go through the smokes, just trying to dive a man in, get anything they can done. The nade damage is good. Goofy actually on 1 HP before he can even commit. And they've actually pushed them all the way back. I thought they were going to still commit through that utility, but instead they've opted to drop off. Deep smoke comes in for the CT side as well. That's really well played by Apeks. I was worried for them. A lack of firepower. Utility not in the greatest of spots either, but they find a pick. Loads of damage onto Goofy as well, and fullback pushing Wisla out of the initial hit. Does look like they're still going to commit just with the delayed timing on it. But this is where the MP9s can maybe do some work. All 3 of them queued up down on this B-bomb site. If they get up close and personal, they could get some serious damage off.
Definitely. I mean, Goofy's pretty much dead already at this point, so you could just tickle him and he might go ahead and drop that AK to you. But of course, the lack of weaponry could still be an issue if we see Wisla managing to get some initial entries, especially out of Monster. If they don't get caught by this up-close MP9, then, well, they should be in a decent position. You do see Dennis at least getting one, but Yedker ready on the trades. Oh, hang on, though, because the Scout is going to go ahead and hit 2 shots in a row onto Hades, the second of which was a headshot just to make sure he wasn't going to be living any longer. And now it is Yedker who really needs to do all of the work. Never mind, okay, Goofy, despite being 1 health, actually takes down Kreese in the pick, gets himself another on to relax it in heaven. And now he's watching short so they can go ahead and get that bomb down. Obviously, Freddy Frog uses that time to creep in, and he's ready for the second onto Goofy as well as he spots the head on the ramp. What a clutch from Freddy Frog. It looked like it was going to be Wisla who made the clutch happen, but no. It is instead the Swede who steps up to put Apeks back in the lead. 12 to 11. We're staying head-to-head right now, but these aren't clean rounds by any means for Apeks, and with the bomb going down and with some money left over, Wisla can again come right back into the buy, so the pressure's not going to be letting off quite yet.
I'm going to have to go look at the VOD and work out how on earth Hades has got 10k after that round. It's insane. Apeks, they win it. Yes, they go down to the 1v1, but still not a good look for them. 3 rifles up at the very least. That saved AK form in the backbone. Couple of MP9s still on board, however. As Freddy Frog tries to take the proactive opening aggression, trying to make that AK sing. Won't quite happen. And, well, it's a very strong buy for Wisla, and that's the real concern at this point. 4 AK-47s on the board for Wisla. Up against those MP9s. They worked once, but Wisla not going to give them that same opportunity again. Not going to go barreling into the crossfires and the utility just yet. Instead, probing around the connector area. They're getting a man out in towards the playground. Just prodding and poking at the initial CT defense, seeing if they'll give up any picks. But once more, it's Apeks playing very passively initially. They've got a couple of players at least in towards the back of bathrooms this time, but there's no aggressive peaks. They are aware that they're outgunned. Not necessarily outmanned just yet, but they can't afford to be getting aggressive initially.
No, sometimes you might even prefer that with those weaker weapons, but you also have pretty much all of the nades on those SMGs, so you need those late round also. So we're not really seeing too much aggression at all. It is those much more passive holds on the bomb sites once again, which to be fair, Apeks do seem pretty comfortable with. They were making them work constantly on train. We've seen them win the last 2 rounds, even if they come down to the wire each time. And they're doing a bit of damage on Yedker as well. Might not seem like much, but it is actually going to help out once the hit comes in. And look at Dennis's position. They have no idea. Just walks down connector behind them, catches Punchek, is keeping Goofy busy as the trades don't really work out quite in their favor as they move towards B. Hades did obviously return the frag to keep it in the 3-on-3, but the initial 2 players who covered some ground were taken out. That's allowed now for rotations to come down, but hang on. Dennis didn't expect Goofy to peek back in, so he gets caught with a nade in hand. Freddy Frog at least there for the trade, and the bomb should just about go down, but never mind. They've already moved in. Relaxer from Heaven takes Sparrow, and that lets Freddy Frog go ahead and just catch Hades with unfortunately no gun in his hand. Didn't have time to even get it out. 13-11, another close round, but this one a little bit more convincingly going the way of Apeks, and most importantly, they've gone ahead and built themselves up now a 2-round lead. It's no longer back and forth. I think it's been 3 rounds in a row, right? So yeah, it's getting risky for Wisla. At least the loss bonus is there alongside the bomb plant to buy again, but you need to keep those bomb plants going, otherwise eventually you are going to hit an eco. And at this score, you can't afford that. The wall bang, no, it doesn't connect. I seen him line up. I was waiting to see if Goofy was going to get domed or not. Thankfully, for the sake of Wisla, that doesn't happen, because that would have been a horrible start to the round.
Apeks, man, you are not good for my heart. That flank from Sparrow last round. Oh, man, I saw it just decimating the CTs, but the clock is there for them. He had to commit to the site based purely on the fact there was no time left. They had to get that bomb down, and as a result, they can pincer in on Apeks' side of things and get it done. And as you said, a crucial, critical 2-round lead now. A little bit of buffer. Again, the economy is absolutely hamstrung. If they lose this round, it's still not going to be a good look. It's probably going to be a full eco, in fact, but for now, at least, the T-side's economy is in a similar state. Queuing up in the bathrooms. Freddy Frog out towards Long's going to need to find this pick as the flashes come over the top. Relax is going to be caught in a very awkward spot between a rock and a hard place. Does well to find one, and Freddy Frog with that second allows him to bail out. That allows him to rotate straight out of Long. The teammate is here in the form of Kriaz. He gets one before he's taken down. And this T-side are in such an awkward spot. Dennis trades 1 for 1. But Goofy's got to find a 1v3. He knows there's 2 players in towards Long. He's actually going to go down through Bank and win the fight against Grusan. And now the B bomb site potentially becomes available to him. 30 seconds left. He's going to go straight down, smoke towards short to allow the plant. But wisely, the CT side, they're going to stick together, going together through connector, clearing their way out of short, not giving Goofy any early opportunities to isolate this 1v1 as Relaxer first man up behind that smoke on short. Goofy sets himself with a nice position here. Double spray down could potentially be on. They're waiting for that smoke to fade first. It's intelligent from the CT side, but it's going to be all on Goofy. Relaxer jumps round and oh, it's close. Freddy Frog did not have a lot of health to be playing with there, but he gets it on the board regardless. It's 14 rounds coming up for Apeks. They're starting to accelerate away. The loss bonus, though, again, the buys are going to keep on coming, and the CT side, they have never managed to build up an established financial situation. So 1 round, and they're looking at resets.
Exactly, yeah. Every single one of these rounds is so damn close. So they're still in an incredibly brittle position where 1 round loss just absolutely ruins them, and then suddenly Wisla would be right back into the game. But obviously, if they never get that round win, it won't matter. Apeks, they just somehow keep managing to clutch out these situations. As Wisla, they must feel like they're hitting their head against a brick wall. They keep getting so close. What is the plan here? Again, just a fairly standard default. We're actually seeing aggression up long, though, from Apeks, so that's a little bit of a switch. They aren't going to commit off the back of it, though, and if they had of it would have been only Hades around that area who's holding on at the moment, showing, or at least having some presence for Wisla, because the rest of them are grouped up outside B in what is seemingly just going to be a B hit eventually, as they even have Hades now coming back around. They're not looking to leave the lurker. So yeah, it is going to be the B defense once again tested. Nades-wise, it is okay. It's honestly not that great. There's only the 1 molly available. That's in the hands of Freddy Frog, who isn't even down here on B. So Wisla, They do have the ability here to potentially hit some solid entries once they get going forward. But I think even then, Apeks have a bit of an idea potentially of what's going on, because they've got that aggressive hold from Freddy Frog over on long. They can have Dennis rotate down quickly, rather, and they've already got 3 on this B bomb site.
Molly comes in, clears out the barrels. They should smell a rat at this point as the hit starts to come through. Kriaz, he's trying to take that fight on short and he'll win it as well. 2 frags for these MP9s. That's all you can ask. And Relaxer's rotated in quickly with the AWP to make it 3-on-2. Dennis caught dropping though, and it gets a little awkward again. Hades already on the 30 bomb, looking to make it 32 and clutch up for his team. He's got time to play with. Still needs to get that bomb, however, and Apeks, they've rotated Relaxer around. He's going to hold from heaven with 20 seconds left. This plant should be able to come through. Hades actually taps it, trying to bait out some kind of information about where this CT side is playing. They're giving him nothing, though. That door opening gives a little bit of information away. The molly actually locks out the default plant spot as well. That makes it almost impossible, surely. 5 seconds, make it 4, and they've just got to hide. Relaxer knows it. Hades knows it. The shake of the mouse. There's nothing they can do. Again, it's down to the last man. It's down to the finest of margins. But Apeks, they just keep pushing those rounds through.
This is insane. I don't know. It was going so well for Wisla. They started off this T half on a pretty decent position. They went up 11-10 even at one point there. But then Apeks just started winning all of these rounds by the skin of their teeth. Incredibly close. I think the most we've seen surviving was that round before where they had 2 who managed to live. So, yeah, no, this is just being insane. Wisla on the brink of defeat right now, as it looks like Apeks might be able to flip things from the previous day and take the 2-0 here for themselves. And as we said, it was kind of a blessing in disguise that they got to play them in that, I think it was called Pinnacle Cup or something, and now get the obviously the chance to have it adjusted to those mistakes and potentially take the reverse 2-0 here in Esea Premier in such an important matchup. Auto Director doesn't want to do its job right now, so I might have to take over observing for us, Wolfie, unfortunately. But, well, Dennis, he makes it easy by catching that kill on mid.
Makes it very easy indeed. Now he's got the backstab. Both players funneled in towards the A bomb site. I mean, so little HP, right? Hades really got nothing to work with. The spray on the backstab, not going to quite connect initially. 3-on-2, they need to get a man into an aggressive spot, and it will work out well. So much damage done, but Ponchek's still alive and kicking. His support is gone now. He's all alone in the 1v2. There's utility to make this retake a reality, and Dennis on the backstab will connect it. It is Apeks. They get themselves the reverse of yesteryear. The 2-0 comes in, 16-11. It's a fantastic performance from them. It really is. It looks mighty impressive. Books them a 2nd place slot in Group A. And I mean, that whole game, it was complete and utter chaos, complete madness. But somehow they keep winning with 1 man left alive.
Yeah, I just don't know what happened in those final few rounds right there. As I said, it looked like Wisla had really woken up. They recovered what initially had been a very poor start to the first half, going down 4-0. Managed to get a decent going as well in those initial moments of the T side, but eventually it just seemed like every single clutch moment started to be won out by Apeks, and obviously that's what brings them over the finish line. So yeah, a fantastic show, and I think that train especially really impressed me, and I like what we got to see from them there. As I mentioned, that does now, I believe, put Apeks up in the 2nd position, so you're going to have Saw in 3rd on 4-2, and I think that's going to put the boys unfortunately down into 4th place now on 4-3 with their record. But obviously there is still a few weeks of games, I believe, left to go, so there's still time to try and maybe catch up on that one. As I said, I think that puts Apeks now in a good position where they shouldn't really be worrying about relegation rather, but they do still need to try and ensure a couple more victories to confirm those playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to be fair, this is mighty impressive from Apeks. You know, they were the roster who signed Jacob and then lost him again. They've completely rebuilt from the ground up, and they are looking like some serious contenders for Pro League. It's an incredible performance, and I think Wisla are going to be forced to ask some questions of themselves, right? Going from a 2-0 to an 0-2, clearly their strategies are looking a little bit readable around the edges.
Yeah, no, that's what it seemed like. It was those adjustments that were made. As I mentioned, especially on train, we've seen that being the case. It seemed like Apeks had a really good idea of where Wisla were going to be in their defaults, especially on every round, with those nades just doing so much damage and always leaving Wisla in a position where, without even seeing anyone, they normally had 1 or 2 players who were slightly tagged up just to make those hits a little bit more difficult. And, well, yeah, obviously Apeks, they end up coming out with the 2-0 again. A huge performance. I loved what we got to see from Dennis as well. The ops getting going. It was just an all-around great performance. As as we mentioned, though, it's not like it's the end of the world or anything for Wisla. Maybe now they themselves can look at that one, try and make a few adjustments as Apeks did, and try and improve on their trains and overpasses for the future. But it was just the one best of 3 from us tonight, guys, unfortunately. Initially, we were actually meant to cover AGO versus Sprout, which would have been a banger as well, so maybe we'll get to see that some other time. But that had to be rescheduled, I believe, because AGO were in the finals of another tournament. But that's going to be it for us tonight, guys. We will be back next week on the main stream with another matchup. I'm not aware of what that matchup is right now, so I'm not even going to try and check. But then we'll also be returning to this B stream again the Wednesday, I believe. So yeah, loads more ESEA, as I said, to come. Maybe have a check on HLTV right now, because there was other games that were going on and might be getting covered by other streams. I'm not sure if they're over yet. I can't actually check, or else Wolfie will just disappear from your screen, and that won't be fun. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining us. Hit that follow button if you did enjoy. You can check myself and Wolfie out. You can see our Twitter @ below, or you can hit !caster in the chat to find us. And well, thank you.